a city where you can walk from a 2,000-year-old Roman temple to a beach in 15 minutes, where an unfinished church has been under construction for 143 years and is still the most visited monument in Spain. Barcelona is not just a destination. It is the city that convinced the world that Mediterranean life might actually be the answer. Barcelona welcomed over 12 million international tourists in 2024, making it the most visited city in Spain and one of the top 10 in the world. It sits on the northeastern coast of Spain, squeezed between the Mediterranean Sea and the Calcerola Mountains. The city covers 40 square miles, that is 101 square kilometers, and is home to 1.7 million people, with 5.6 million in the greater metro area. It is the capital of Catalonia, a region with its own language, its own flag, and a fierce sense of identity that has shaped everything from the architecture to the food to the way people greet you on the street. Whether you are here for Gaudi, the beaches, the nightlife, or just the feeling of sitting at a terrace with a glass of cava at 4 in the afternoon, this guide covers everything you need. The Gothic Quarter is where Barcelona began, 2,000 years of history packed into a maze of narrow stone streets that predate cars by centuries. The Cathedral of Barcelona dominates the center, but the real magic is getting lost. Every turn reveals a medieval courtyard, a hidden plaza, or a Roman wall fragment embedded in the side of a building. Placa Real is the neighborhood's living room, a palm-lined square surrounded by restaurants, with a pair of lampposts designed by a young Antoni Gaudi before anyone knew his name. Next door, El Born is the trendier cousin. The streets are narrower but lined with independent boutiques, cocktail bars, and the Picasso Museum, which houses over 4,250 of his works, making it the most complete collection from his early years. The Santa Caterina Market is the local alternative to the tourist-packed Boqueria, better prices, less crowding, and a stunning wavy mosaic roof. If the Gothic Quarter is medieval chaos, the example is geometric perfection. This neighborhood was designed in the 1850s by engineer Ildefons Cerda, who created a grid of octagonal city blocks, each one with chamfered corners to improve airflow and visibility. It worked so well that the neighborhood became the showcase for Catalan modernism, the local version of Art Nouveau that turned Barcelona into an open-air architecture museum. The Passeig de Gràcia is the main artery, a wide boulevard lined with luxury shops and 3 of Gaudi's most famous buildings, Casa Batlló, Casa Mila, and Casa Amatller. But Eixample is not just architecture. It is also the heart of Barcelona's LGBTQ community. The Gaixample district around Cara de Casanova and Cara del Consell de Cent is packed with bars, bookshops, and some of the city's best brunch spots. Barceloneta was a fishing village until the 1992 Olympics completely transformed the waterfront. The old fishermen's houses still stand, narrow pastel-colored buildings on tight streets, but now they sit between seafood restaurants and surf shops. Barceloneta Beach is the most famous stretch of sand in the city, 422 meters long, free to use, and packed from May through October. But keep walking northeast, and the crowds thin out. Bogatel Beach and Nova Icaria Beach are wider, quieter, and where locals actually go. The Port Olympic is the marina built for the 1992 Games, now a strip of restaurants and nightclubs anchored by Frank Gehry's giant golden fish sculpture. Further along the waterfront, the W Hotel, shaped like a sail, marks the southern tip of the coast. On Sundays, the Barceloneta Boardwalk becomes a free outdoor gym, with runners, cyclists, and volleyball players stretching all the way to the Forum. Gracia was an independent town until Barcelona absorbed it in 1897, and it still acts like one. The plazas here are smaller, the restaurants are cheaper, and the pace is noticeably slower than the rest of the city. Placa del Sol is the social center. ringed by terraces where locals sit until well past midnight. The Festa Major de Gracia every August transforms the streets into a competition where neighbors spend months decorating their blocks with handmade themes. It is free, chaotic, and one of the best street festivals in Europe. On the other side of the city, Montjuic is the hilltop that overlooks the harbor. The 1992 Olympic Stadium still stands here, alongside the Fundació Joan Miró Museum, the National Art Museum of Catalonia, and the Montjuic Castle, a 17th-century fortress with panoramic views of the entire city and coastline. The cable car from Barcelona to Montjuic costs €13 one way and gives you an aerial view of the port. Barcelona's metro system has 12 lines and 187 stations. It covers nearly everywhere you need to go and runs from 5 a.m. until midnight on weekdays, with extended hours on Fridays and all night on Saturdays. A single ticket costs €2.55, but the T-Casual card gives you 10 trips for €11.35. That is €1.14 per ride. It works on the metro, buses, and trams within Zone 1, which covers the entire city center. The Ola Bician travel card is aimed at tourists. Unlimited transit for 2, 3, 4, or 5 days starting at €17.50. If you are staying more than 3 days and plan to use transit daily, the Ola card pays for itself fast. Buses run an extensive network, and night buses, the NIT bus, cover the key routes from 11 p.m. until the metro reopens. For the airport, the Aerobus runs every 5 minutes from Terminal 1 and Terminal 2 to Plaça Catalunya for €7.75 one way, and takes about 35 minutes. Barcelona is one of the most walkable cities in Europe. The grid layout of the example means you rarely get lost, and the major landmarks are clustered in a compact area. From the Gothic Quarter to the Sagrada Familia is a 30-minute walk. From Barcelona Beach to Park Güell is about 50 minutes on foot, or 20 by metro. For cycling, Barcelona's Bicing bike share system has over 7,000 bikes at 519 stations. A one-year subscription costs €50, but it is designed for residents. Tourists can use the Donkey Republic app or electric scooters from companies like Yego. The beachfront promenade has a dedicated bike lane that runs from the W Hotel to the Forum, about 4.5 kilometers of flat, car-free cycling along the Mediterranean. The Sagrada Familia is unlike anything else on Earth. Antoni Gaudi began work on the basilica in 1882, and 143 years later, it is still not finished, making it the longest-running construction project in the modern world. The expected completion date is 2026, coinciding with the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. Inside, the effect is overwhelming. Gaudi designed the interior as a stone forest, branching columns that split and spread like trees, holding up a canopy of hyperboloid vaults that filter light through stained glass windows in every color of the spectrum. Morning light floods the east side in blues and greens. Afternoon light hits the west wall in reds and oranges. The result changes every hour of every day. Tickets cost €26 for basic entry and €36 with tower access. You must book online in advance. Walk-up tickets do not exist. Over 4.7 million people visited in 2024, making it the most visited monument in Spain. Arrive at 9 a.m. for the shortest lines and the best morning light. Park Güell sits on a hillside in the Gracia district, originally designed by Gaudi as a luxury housing estate for 60 families. Only 2 houses were ever built, and neither was designed by Gaudi himself. The project failed commercially but succeeded artistically. The mosaic lizard at the entrance is the most photographed sculpture in Barcelona. The terrace above, with its undulating bench covered in broken ceramic tiles, gives you a panoramic view of the city stretching to the sea. The monumental zone requires a timed ticket at €10, but the surrounding park is free and open to all. Casa Batlló on Passeig de Gràcia is Gaudi's most colorful work, a facade that looks like dragon scales, with balconies shaped like masks and a roof that resembles the spine of a reptile. Tickets start at €35 and include an augmented reality experience. Casa Mila, also known as La Pedrera, is 2 blocks away. Its rooftop terrace, with chimney sculptures that look like medieval warriors, costs €25 and often sells out weeks in advance. Barcelona has 4.5 kilometers of coastline, all of it free, all of it public, and most of it created from scratch for the 1992 Olympics. Before the Games, the waterfront was an industrial zone. Now it is one of the best urban beach experiences in Europe. Barceloneta is the busiest, closest to the center, lined with chiringuitos, the beach bars that serve cold beer and paella from April to October. Bogatel Beach is quieter and popular with locals and families. Marbella Beach has a nudist section and a strong skateboarding culture around the nearby park. Nova Icaria is the calmest, sheltered by the Port Olympic breakwater, with shallow water that is good for families with young children. The water temperature ranges from 13 degrees Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit, in winter to 26 Celsius, 79 Fahrenheit, in August. Lifeguards are on duty from late May through September, and all beaches have free showers, toilets, and accessibility ramps. Barcelona's food culture is built on 2 things: fresh ingredients and sharing. Tapas here are not just small plates. They are a way of eating that stretches a single meal across 3 hours and 4 bars. The classic order starts with pan con tomate, bread rubbed with ripe tomato, drizzled with olive oil, and sprinkled with salt. Simple, perfect, and under €3 everywhere. Patatas bravas are fried potato cubes with spicy tomato sauce and garlic aioli. Every bar has its own version. Jamon iberico is cured ham from acorn-fed pigs, sliced paper-thin and melting on contact. A plate of the good stuff costs 15 to €20 and is worth every cent. La Boqueria Market on La Rambla is the most famous food market in the world. Over 300 stalls selling everything from fresh oysters to tropical fruit smoothies. It has been operating on this site since 1217. The trick is to skip the stalls at the entrance. Those are tourist traps. Walk to the back and the sides, where the locals shop and prices drop by half. Barcelona sits on the Mediterranean, and the seafood shows it. Fideuà is the local answer to paella, short pasta noodles cooked in fish stock with shrimp, mussels, and squid, finished with a garlic aioli. A good portion costs 14 to €18 in Barceloneta. Grilled octopus with paprika and olive oil is on almost every menu. Bombas, fried potato balls filled with meat and topped with spicy sauce, were invented in Barceloneta and are now a citywide staple at about €2 each. For fine dining, Barcelona has 25 Michelin-starred restaurants in 2026. Disfrutar, ranked #1 on the world's 50 best restaurants list in 2024, serves a 30-course tasting menu for €250. Tickets, the reservation-only concept by the El Bulli team, costs €130 and treats dining as theater. But you do not need Michelin stars to eat well here. The food in Barcelona is exceptional at every price point. Barcelona has over 55 museums, and the best ones are not always the most famous. The Fundació Joan Miró on Montjuic houses the largest collection of Miró's work anywhere: bold colors, surreal shapes, and a rooftop terrace with views of the city. Admission is €15. The MACBA, the Museum of Contemporary Art, sits in the Raval neighborhood in a striking white building designed by Richard Meyer. The plaza out front is one of the most famous skateboarding spots in Europe. The National Art Museum of Catalonia, known as MNAC, sits at the top of Montjuic and has a Romanesque art collection that is unmatched anywhere in the world. 1,000-year-old frescoes pulled from crumbling mountain churches and reassembled wall by wall. Entry is €12, and it is free on the first Sunday of every month. For live music, Barcelona's Palau de la Música Catalana, another modernism masterpiece, hosts classical concerts, flamenco, and jazz in a stained glass concert hall that is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Barcelona's nightlife starts later than almost anywhere in Europe. Dinner at 10 p.m., drinks at midnight, clubs at 2 a.m., and home at sunrise. That is a standard Saturday. The Born and Raval neighborhoods are the best for cocktail bars and live music venues. Razzmatazz is the mega club, 5 rooms, 5 genres, open until 6 a.m. on weekends. Sala Apollo is a former dance hall that now hosts electronic music and indie bands. Cover charges range from €10 to €25, usually including a drink. Then there is FC Barcelona. Camp Nou, the largest football stadium in Europe, is currently being renovated in a €1.5 billion project and is expected to reopen with 105,000 seats by 2026. In the meantime, the team plays at the Estadi Olympic on Montjuic. Match tickets start at €50 and sell out within hours through the official FC Barcelona website, never from resellers. The Club Museum was the most visited museum in Catalonia before the renovation, attracting 1.5 million visitors per year. Barcelona is mid-range by Western European standards, cheaper than Paris, London, or Zurich, but more expensive than Lisbon, Athens, or most Eastern European cities. A budget traveler can manage on €80 to €110 per day. Hostels run €25 to €45 per night for a dorm bed. Mid-range hotels average €120 to €180. A coffee costs €1.50 to €2.50, significantly cheaper than Northern Europe. A beer at a bar is €3 to €5. The Menu del Dia lunch is your best value meal at €12 to €16 for 3 courses, including a drink. A sit-down dinner costs €20 to €40 per person. Transit on the T-Casual card works out to €1.14 per ride. Museum passes help. The Articket BCN gives you entry to 6 major museums for €38, saving about 40% versus individual tickets. The Barcelona tourist tax is €4.45 per night for hotels, charged on top of room rates for stays up to 7 nights. The biggest money trap is La Rambla. Everything from restaurants to street performers to pickpockets is optimized for tourists. Walk 1 block in either direction and prices drop. Barcelona has a Mediterranean climate, mild winters, hot summers, and over 2,500 hours of sunshine per year. Spring, from April to June, is the best time to visit. Temperatures sit between 15 and 25 Celsius, 59 to 77 Fahrenheit. The beaches are not yet crowded, and everything is open. Summer, July and August, averages 28 to 32 Celsius, 82 to 90 Fahrenheit, with high humidity. The city is packed, prices peak, and locals leave. September and October are the sweet spot if you want warm weather without the crowds. Sea temperatures are actually at their highest in September. Winter is mild by European standards, 8 to 15 Celsius, 46 to 59 Fahrenheit, with almost no rain and the lowest hotel prices of the year. Safety in Barcelona is generally good, but pickpocketing is a real issue. The city consistently ranks among the highest in Europe for petty theft. La Rambla, The metro and crowded attractions are the hot spots. Keep your phone in a front pocket, use a crossbody bag, and never leave anything on a table at a terrace. Violent crime against tourists is rare. Barcelona is a city that works on every level: history, food, architecture, nightlife, beaches, and a pace of life that makes you question why you ever rush. If you found this guide useful, subscribe and hit the bell. We have guides coming for Rome, Amsterdam, and Lisbon. Drop a comment and tell us, what is the one thing you would do first in Barcelona? We read every single one.